Today is day 17 of Mission Shred. Did my weight first thing this morning, 184 pounds. I've been doing that every single morning, first thing as soon as I wake up. For me, it's the best time to weigh myself for consistency. That way you have less fluctuations day to day, depending on how much food you ate or how much fluids, etc. So every morning weighing myself. You can also see every Thursday I've been doing my body fat percentage as well. So once a week, starting at day one at 6.6% body fat. Now, I don't know if that's my actual body fat, I doubt it. Using calipers to do it. Now, calipers are not that accurate for doing body fat percentage, but they are a great tool for tracking progress, because at the end of the day, for doing a competition, really what we're talking about is subcutaneous fat. We're talking about getting your skin nice and thin, so you really get that muscle definition. So for that purpose, calipers are great. They're gonna help you track progress. So a week later, weighed in at 184.6 pounds, dropped 2 pounds, which based on the calculations that I set for myself in the very beginning was way too much. Body fat percentage dropped from 6.6 down to 4.9. The good news here is my original lean body mass was 175 pounds. Here, same thing, 175 pounds. So at least I didn't lose any lean muscle, but still moving way too fast. Day one, so over here on Thursday, that night, I went through and I did some calculations, put them on the whiteboard, and I based it off of the program that we created for BPI Sports. It's the six-pack university program. So it is a carb cycling program that we put together to help people get in great shape and see their abs. So that consisted of a carb cycling program of 2 days of high carb, 3 days of low carb, with a macro split on the high carb days of 1.5 grams of carbs, 1.5 grams of protein per pound of lean body mass, and 0.5 grams of fat. And that's for the high carb day. And then on the low carb days, you're essentially cutting the carbohydrates in half. So not only are you lowering your carbohydrates, but you're also creating a bit of a calorie deficit compared to the high carb days. So that was the program that we created. So that's what I started off with. The problem for me is that I was already really lean to start with. I really try to stay in great shape year round, eat healthy, do all the right things year round. So this isn't just a competition thing for me. So yeah, I started off with a lower body fat percentage, and that's why following the six-pack university program, which is pretty aggressive, I was actually dropping too fast. So I had to pump the brakes a little bit. Matter of fact, during this week, somewhere right in here, Jay Cutler came into town and we were talking about it, and he said the exact same thing to me.
Yeah, because normally if someone's lean, like just eating the meals, the 7 meals a day, is going to be a shock to your body, because it's fighting to burn through that food. It's becoming a faster machine. You know what I mean? So if you add the cardio in there, it's just going to wrench it up. I would almost just wait if you feel you're getting too. Don't get too. You're too excited. That's the problem.
That was exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Just ready to start.
Yeah.
He said, you need to slow down. He's like, I know you're excited to jump into this and get going. He said, but you're gonna have to slow it down. So I went back to the drawing board and I looked at everything that I was doing and tried to figure out what to change and when to change it. One of the things that Jay and I were talking about, he's like, well, maybe you're doing too much cardio, maybe you're not getting enough calories, maybe you're not getting enough carbs. So what I did is I went ahead and I laid off the cardio last week. So starting from about the 7th until the 14th, I really chilled out on the cardio, because I jumped into it full steam. I was doing my HIIT cardio on my high carb days. I was doing my steady state cardio in the mornings. So I laid off the cardio, and first I made adjustments to my calories. One of the first things that I did is, instead of doing the 3-2 split on the carb cycling, I felt like I wasn't able to fully replenish my glycogen stores. In other words, get enough carbohydrates in those 2 days to get back to my baseline. So I gave myself a third day of carb loading. So I'm at 3 days of a carb deplete and 3 days of a carb load. So that was change number one. And at the same time, I went ahead and I tweaked my ratios just a little bit. So one of the things that Jay and I were talking about is it's important on a carb cycling program to have a very distinct difference in your carbohydrate levels between a low day and a high day.
You know, we talk about zigzag carbs, meaning like carb rotation. The things is the lows and highs have to be extreme. So you can't, like if a guy eats, you know, 200 grams of carbs a day on a normal day, he can't just go to like 250 on a high carb. You got to go like 400 or 500. You got to double it almost.
I was sitting here doing some math the other day. I was at, originally, on my high carb day, I was at 1.5 grams of protein, so that's 262 grams of protein. Carbohydrates at 1.5, again, 262 grams. My fats, 87 grams. So that gave me total calories as about a little over 2,800 calories on a high carb day. Now, on my low carb days, I was cutting those carbohydrates in half, so 0.75, which gave me 131 grams of carbs, and that put my total calories at a little over 2,400. So what I did is, because it felt like I was dropping way too fast and I have a little bit of time to play with this, and this is one of the reasons you definitely want to start your diet early enough to give yourself that room to be able to make adjustments without panicking, because trust me, with the looming deadline of a show, you're inevitably going to panic. You're going to freak out a little bit if you don't give yourself enough time. So right now I feel comfortable. Right now at the 17th, I still have 76 days to go. So where I'm at now is on my high carb days, I bumped that up. So I'm still at the 262 grams of protein. I didn't change that at all. My carbohydrates are now at 350 grams total, which is my lean body mass multiplied by 2. Before it was 1.5. So now 175 pounds is my lean body mass multiplied by 2. So that's 350 grams of carbohydrates. And then what I did is, because my carbs are a lot higher, I brought my fats down. Originally I had it at 0.5, brought it way down for my, my high carb days. And that's now at 0.15. So 0.15 times 175 is 27 grams of fat, very low fat for the day. If you were to break it out, that would be 40% protein, 50% carbohydrates, and 10% fats. So now, what did I do on my low carb day? All right, well, protein, that's a constant. That stayed the same, 262 grams of protein. Now on my carbohydrates, like I was saying, that whatever you do on your high carb day, you have to cut it in half, 50%. So my low carb day is 1 gram of carbohydrate per pound of lean body mass. So that gives me 175 grams. Now here's the thing, I didn't want to create a deficit compared to my high carb days as far as total calories. I wanted them to be the same. So I'm getting 2,770 calories on my high carb day, so I wanted to get 2,770 on my low carb day. So if my protein's a constant, that stays the same. I knew how much carbohydrates I wanted to get. Well, then what you have to do is you just have to do the quick math on it. So that means calculating your calories on your protein. So that was 1,125 calories on protein. The carbohydrates at 175 grams is only 700 calories. So whatever the deficit was, that's what I knew I needed to add back in fats for total calories. So now I have a balance between a high carb day and a low carb day of 2,770 calories on both. Now it's the ratios that are different. So you got to look at this almost like a pie chart. If the whole piece of pie is your total calorie needs for the day, so for me it's 2,770, then it's just different ratios for those days. So for example, my low carb day, 40% protein, 25% carbohydrates, and 35% fats. Now on my high carb day, it's 40% protein, 50% carbohydrates, and only 10% fat. So same calories both days, just different ratios. And that's where you're gonna see people play around with it different. I know that for Jay, on his low carb days, I believe he actually said he bumped up his protein on those days. So his program a little bit different, but it's the same exact concept. You're trying to get the same amount of calories, you're just getting different ratios. So that's where I'm at right now. I feel really good. Woke up this morning, felt really lean, starting to starting to get tighter. For me, it's not going to be so much abs that I'm going to have to worry about. Where I hold my fat, and this is a secret, and I don't tell anyone. For me, it's always back here. So getting my sides and my back leaner. So even though it's not part of my 3-point caliper measurements for body fat, I still had a Nick pick a spot on my low back and put the calipers there so I can measure the progress. So again, that has nothing to do with body fat. I just want to know what the thickness of my skin is so I can see a reduction in that subcutaneous fat there. So she picked a spot back here. I think there's some sort of little circle, she said. So right now it's about 9 on the caliper. So see if I can, maybe cut that in half, get that down to like 4.5. And I think I'll be right where I need to be. So I put together a grocery list for Nick of the different types of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats that I want to eat. So she's been doing the grocery shopping. She's been helping me with my meal prep, which is awesome because truthfully, I kind of stink at that. All right, so the liquid in there is just lemon?
Lemon, water, and a splash of coconut water. That's it. This, salt, and I use one more, which is the pepper one. Which is this one? Right here.
What is it?
That one.
Lemon pepper.
Yeah. We go. So, yeah.
So then you're gonna broil it or bake it?
I'm gonna bake it.
How long?
It's not as dry, so that's why I like the liquid in there.
So what temperature and how long?
Set at, gonna bring it down to about 350 and then cook it in there for like 25 minutes. So you have dinner tonight and then tomorrow. So I just don't know how many portions you need.
When it comes to calculating all your macros, I don't rely on MyFitnessPal, but it is an awesome tool for building out your meal plan. So even if you don't use it to actually track your food, like I said, you can use it just to build out your meals for the day and make sure that you're on point with your macros. So let's use this Y as an example. All right, so dinner, serving size 3 ounce. So now I can actually go by the size, or I can just go by the number of servings, and I can adjust it even in fractions as well. So if, let's say I did 2 1/4 servings, there you go, it's automatically going to calculate everything for me. So that way, if you get through your whole day's meal plan and maybe you're short 30 grams of protein or you're short on carbs, you can go back and you can look at your sources of protein, look at your sources of carbs, and just adjust those serving sizes to make sure you hit your total macro target. So even though I don't track every single meal with MyFitnessPal, I think it's an awesome meal plan builder, so to speak. So that's how I use it.
Okay, so here's your fish for tomorrow. So whatever your little containers are that you've labeled, and put those in there.
Thank you, Ben.
Okay, so I don't know how much. Listen, I will cook, but you put them in the little containers, okay?
That's the deal?
That's the deal, whatever.
Deal.
All right, so I'll just cook extra every night. If you want extra chicken, I'll throw extra breasts on the barbecue, whatever. But you just got to figure out how much as far as portions you need to put in there.
Perfect.
Because I'm
Thank
like,
you.
I'm committed, but I'm like, really not that committed. I'm like, yeah, here's your food. It's Mr. Science guy. See, because I'm just gonna go like this. Here's your rice.
It's not that I won't do it, it's just that I'll resort to really boring, plain things, and I'll eat the same thing over and over and over and over, which gets really monotonous. So I'm lucky that she's able to do her thing and make some of this stuff taste good. So truthfully, I know it hasn't been very long. I'm only 17 days into this, but I'm not bothered by it at all. I feel great. I don't really feel like I'm dieting, although here's the thing. And a lot of people really don't understand this when it comes to a competition diet. It's not about eating less. I mean, a lot of people have in their head that it's about a calorie restriction, so whatever I'm eating now, I have to eat less, and that's not the case. Matter of fact, you end up feeling like you're eating more throughout the day. It's just eating a lot of very plain food a lot of times. Mike is doing the same thing right now. You know, Mike is leading up to Mission Shred. He was already on this mission to get lean and lose his body fat, lose that belly, and now his goal for March 2nd, well actually I think we made his goal March 6th. That'll be the Monday that I get back after the Arnold. He wants six-pack.
First day of Mission Shred. We're in the gym right now. It's 5 o'clock. Got my meals in today, got my shakes in today. I'm feeling right. We're gonna get this started right. 100% we're going in on this. So yeah, 12 weeks we're gonna get that six-pack.
And that's an awesome goal. So he's working really hard at that. He's eating pretty much the same stuff I am. He's eating almost the exact same way. The only difference is that I didn't change his plan like I've changed mine. So he's following the plan that's exactly there on sixpackuniversity.com. So you guys can follow along exactly the same way that Mike is doing his plan. Or if you guys want to make any of the tweaks that I'm making because you have a similar goal, or you're more importantly at a similar starting point, then I want to share this stuff with you guys so you know what exactly I'm tweaking, because originally I wanted to follow that plan as closely as possible so that we were all doing the same thing at the same time, that I was doing the exact same plan you guys were, but everybody's different and everybody's starting point is different. And so for me, just the fact that I started off really lean, I just had to make some adjustments here to pretty much slow down the process. Now that I think I'm in the right spot with my calories, because I woke up this morning at 184, which looking back on my calendar here, that looks pretty consistent. My body fat, I did it Thursday night, it was the same as last week. It didn't change at all. Although I feel different when I look in the mirror, I feel like I look different, feel like I've gotten a little bit leaner, but muscles still feel full and I feel strong. So I think I'm at the right point with calories. So now I'm starting to add the cardio back in. I did some cardio last night. I'm gonna do some today as well after my workout. I'm probably not gonna do the HIIT right now, again, because I wanna ease into this. We'll see how it goes over the next couple weeks. So for now, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stick to just steady state cardio, some good old fashioned boring steady state cardio after my workout. So probably about 25 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. I think that I'm in a good spot right now. I'll see how I feel next week. And that's the thing, you can't get over anxious.
Everyone has that, you know, they want to just like, okay, I want this to happen overnight. I know what physique he's looking at. He's looking at a stage-ready physique he wants immediately. You can't think like that. It's a process, you know, it's a marathon, not a sprint, you know.
You have to stay disciplined. And that's the key, because this stuff starts to get in your head. Last week I thought, oh my God, I'm losing too fast, I'm gonna lose muscle. And now I'm like, oh my God, maybe I'm not gonna be ready. Yeah, what do you got?
My birthday party.
It's from your birthday party?
Yes.
What is it?
Noah brought that for me. Cute. Noah brought that for me.
Wow.
It's so...
Holy moly.
It's like a little Shopkins.
This is a little what? Shopkins?
Little Shopkins puppies.
Okay.
Little Shopkins puppies.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You know, people ask me why I'm doing this, and truthfully it has nothing to do with winning the show. Although don't get me wrong, I'm super competitive by nature, and I don't do anything without the intention of bringing my best and trying to win. But it's not about that. For me, this is about stretching myself, challenging myself, seeing what those limits are, seeing how far I can push myself. You know, and I enjoy trying to rise to the occasion. I like trying to do things that other people think are impossible. If you really want to motivate me, tell me that I can't do it, and that motivates me. So it's part that, it's part wanting to set a good example for Mike and Kirby, because I'm always telling these guys that you have to have a good goal. You have to have a clearly defined goal, something that excites you, maybe even something that scares you a little, something that you think that you might not be able to pull off. And then in order to create that sense of urgency, you have to create a deadline, and it has to be something that's set in stone no matter what by that day. And so I'm always preaching that to these guys, and I realized I didn't have that kind of goal for myself right now when it came to my physique. So I thought of all sorts of different goals, things that I could maybe do to challenge myself, and none of them really got me that excited. And when I started thinking about doing a competition, especially one of this caliber, in front of so many people there at the Arnold Expo, and you got to figure, I mean, I don't know how many people roll through that expo over the course of the 3 days, but I think it's something like 40,000 people at least. So that expo hall is just packed with people. So to step up on stage and to stand next to everybody else, I mean, literally, it's just you and them. And there's nothing in between you. It's just your best against their best. And that kind of got me a little nervous. That made me, that gave me a little bit of butterflies, and that's when I knew that it was a good goal for me. So yeah, if something scares you a little, that's a good goal. But I got time here, so I'm just gonna keep cranking. It's like what I tell Mike and Kirby and everybody else. Once you get everything really kind of tweaked and nailed down and you've got all those pieces in place, then the trick is just consistency. Just keep doing it. Just keep chipping away at it. And so I'm getting close, making some of these last little tweaks here with my cardio, my nutrition, getting it dialed in. Now it's just, I've got to keep chipping away at it, keep hammering away. And then it's just gonna come down to, you know, how much you put into it. How much work, how much sweat, tears, you know. How much are you willing to just go in there and push yourself and challenge yourself, and you know, how much can you endure? How, you know, are you gonna work harder than those other guys? And that's what I always tell myself. It's not about winning. I'll be okay no matter what I place, as long as I know that I put everything that I have into it and that I look my best up there. As long as I look my best and I know I worked my ass off and I did everything that I was supposed to do. I trained as hard as I could train. I did my cardio. I never missed meals, that I did everything that I was supposed to do. Then I'll be satisfied and I'll feel good about it. And I'll know that whoever else steps up on stage, that if they're gonna do better than I am, then, well, they better have worked their ass off. And you know, it's just kind of my mindset, and that's always been my mindset with competing. I really, you know, of course I wanted to win, but I also knew how to manage my expectations. That for me, it wasn't about winning, it was about bringing my best. And it was about feeling satisfied that I did everything that I could do, and that I pushed myself as hard as I could push myself. So as long as I do that, as long as I just stay on track, then I'll be good. And that's what motivates me. That's what I was looking for. And that's why I did this competition, is I was looking for that fire again. That reason to be excited to go into the gym and train hard again, that reason to push myself harder, that reason to not miss meals, that reason to not miss cardio even when I'm tired and don't want to do it. That's what it's all about. And so people ask me, well, do I have a hard time, you know, say with the diet? No, not really, because every time I think about, you know, missing a meal or eating something I'm not supposed to think about, I think about stepping on that stage. And it's not, like I said, how I look, it's me knowing that I did all those right things. Because that would be the worst, to go up there, not place the way you want to place, and then reflect back on all those times where you didn't do what you were supposed to do. Say, well, I wonder if it's because of those meals that I missed. I wonder if it is because of those cheat meals. I wonder if it is because of the times that I missed my cardio. I don't want to have those kind of regrets. So when I tell Mike and Kirby I want to go up there with no regrets, that's what I'm talking about. going up there knowing that I brought it, that I did everything that I was supposed to, and everything else will be cool. I'll place however I place. Hopefully I win, but if I don't, I'll have no regrets.